but on the glass, all over the place. What pleased you most?
That they showed they can bounce back from a game that didn't reflect who we think we are in Oklahoma City. You know, we understand the roster that we're fighting with, and you go into Oklahoma City, and we took a pounding, and a lot of that you got to give credit to OKC and Westbrook and so on. But I think to how teams respond is always an interesting litmus test for coaches, and we responded in a way that I expected them to. We played well against a team that was fighting to get into the playoffs, and all over the place. We leave here proud of our guys.
The decision to start Sean Long for the second half, what went into that?
Just Rashawn had 3 fouls. You play that sort of roulette game in the first half. Do you want to take Rashawn out with 2 fouls? And it's not always black and white. And we were playing well, so I opted to deal with it if he got his 3rd foul. But to start him quickly and have Rashawn pick up his 4th foul quickly wasn't something that we wanted to do in that situation. I think that when we all look at Sean Long's numbers, it had a plus 31. You don't see that very often. And the way that he performed, he sure took advantage of his minutes.
Brett, what was different in the fourth in this game compared to what happened against the Magic earlier this week?
I thought that we did a better job of moving. We did a better job because we moved of not playing in a crowd and allowing turnovers to be more available. I think the games that are most recent that we talked about on the bench was at Golden State. When you go in with a lead. OKC, we got mauled right from the beginning, but at Orlando, I thought that they stood us up. And it's a mindset as much as it is, I think, being organized in regards to how do you play with a lead. You're not hoping the game sort of just evaporates. You want to play. And I thought that we did that. I thought Dario's 3, with a minute and whatever left, was the backbreaker. And I think that our 4th period was managed different than those other games you just mentioned.
Sergio's ability to really get you back in it after being down by 10 early, what did you see from him to...
I mean, you really have to speak and write great things about what he did in the first half. I mean, I played him, unusual type of minutes. Normally, TJ's going to hit the court, and I didn't. I kept Sergio going because he was playing so well. And, I think Sergio's defense over the course of an NBA season has improved at times dramatically. He's always had the ability to dance with the ball and make a shot and, find people, make clever passes. Defensively is where we have been on him relentlessly. And he has taken it, he's allowed us to coach him, and he has improved. And so we rode him out in that second period, and he really set the table, I think, for the rest of the game.
You talked about, Dario's 3, but the whole fourth quarter he came up with. I mean,
huge, and he's got the ability when he is pressured, he can still, go one way and maybe another way and gather himself because he's so big. And put people in jail and just get his shoulder in between the ball and the rim, and he just puts people in jail. He can finish in a crowd, and I thought that in that 4th period, he sort of willed his way to the basket and found just multiple ways to score, in big times when the game really fell in the balance.
It was kind of like, I know they play different positions, but he kind of equalized what Butler did.
In many ways. I mean, how tough is Jimmy Butler? And you sit there as the game's coming down, and you got decisions. Do you want to go double team him and leave possible 3-point shooters, or do you want to just make him earn every single 2-point shot? And in my life with San Antonio, it was the same discussion we'd always have with Kobe. Do you want to do anything in that situation? And we chose to play him straight up. And if he was going to beat us with 2s, that we would live with it and try not to leave 3-point shooters. But his ability to score and physical his way into the paint is just sort of jaw-dropping at times. He is very difficult to guard.
And I guess that's why you had Gerald in there in the fourth quarter.
It's true. You know, I thought Timmy played well. I think Timmy's breakaway speed, the stuff he did athletically at the start, he only played 18 minutes. I think that you know, possibly I could have got him on the court a little bit more in the second half. We ended up going with Gerald for that physicality reason and Justin for that physicality reason. And but no real sort of demise to Timmy. It was just more of a matchup defensive rationale than anything.
Right, with Sean, what do you think is the key to his efficiency? It always seems like he's 5 for 6 or 7 for 8 when you look at his field goal shooting.
I mean, he's really long. If you were to measure his wingspan, you know, he can get to balls when you think he's got no right to. I think he has a knack for putbacks, for rebounding at times his own shot, or finding ways to you know, position himself as people are penetrating. He knows the floor spots that we think are important. I thought our guards today did a really good job of pick and roll offense, where at the start of the game, Lopez was sort of cat and mouse playing. You know, he wouldn't commit to the guard with the ball. He wouldn't commit to the roller. He sort of played halfway in between. And I thought our rollers did a really good job of getting behind him and were rewarded by our point guards, especially Sergio. And I think he navigates those type of areas well to produce those efficient stat lines that he has been producing.
Brett, during the game, the news came out that Joel underwent successful surgery in Los Angeles. Just the relief level for you now to move forward with this?
I mean, we've talked about it today. I've seen everybody here. This is now my third time. And, you know, it was going on this morning, and we learned the news in the afternoon. And I just am so happy for him. He has gone through a lot in the past few years. And to sort of, you know, come out of anesthesia and wake up and what's the news? Tell me about my knee. And learn that it's a very minor thing. For him is where my first thoughts go. Obviously to the organization, but to Joel Embiid, the way he's dealt with a lot of adversity, and we all look forward to having a really successful summer. You know, he's still a ways away. I'll be given timelines later, but it's just wonderful news for the city of Philadelphia, and especially wonderful news for Joel Embiid.